What if I told you Andy from Toy Story has a monster from Monsters, Inc.? Think about it. When Randall is blending into the different backgrounds, one of those backgrounds happened to be Andy's wallpaper. Then later, when Sully and Mike were jumping onto the assembly line of doors, what do you see? Andy's closet door. What if I told you E.T. is actually a Jedi? I know Star Wars was a long time ago, and E.T. was in the 80s. Well, what if he traveled through time and space, ending up on Earth in the early 80s? E.T.'s race can actually be seen in Phantom Menace. He even shows signs that he can use the Force. He makes objects float, like when he made him and a few other kids float through the sky. He also has the ability to bring back life. That being said, this could also be tied to why he's always glowing. He could have an extremely high level of metachlorians running through his system. Still not convinced? On Halloween, he sees Yoda, recognizes him, goes up to him and says, "Home." What if I told you Bella's part werewolf? Vampires' powers don't work on Bella, just like how they don't work on werewolves. This would explain why Edward was even able to get her pregnant in the first place. Also, we never hear about wolves imprinting on vampires, yet Jacob imprints on Bella's vampire baby. The only explanation is that Bella is part werewolf and so is the kid. What if I told you in Snow White, Prince Charming isn't a prince at all, but he's actually a Grim Reaper? The first time she sees him next to the well, she runs. Maybe that's to symbolize death looming. Then, after she ate the poisonous apple, she had no choice but to embrace death and have the kiss of death. This makes the final scene where she says goodbye to her friends and rides off on a white horse make a lot more sense. Fun fact, white horse or pale horse in the Bible represents death. Okay, we all know Jimmy Neutron boy genius, but what if Jimmy Neutron is actually trapped in Retroville by the government? What if all the kids in the show were actually genetically made and sent to live with government officials that are also paid actors? No one ever freaks out or cares that this little boy is building all these really high-tech and usually dangerous experiments. Also, after the experiments are done and they test them out, where do they go? The government takes them. Still not convinced? Jimmy Neutron was created by DNA Productions. What if Ferris Bueller is only in Cameron's head? Think about it, Cameron and Ferris only took one day off from school, so why would they be making such a big deal about it? It's because they weren't. Cameron is very upset with his life. Growing up in a very unloving house, he doesn't know how to cope. This is why he invents a carefree, popular, pedal-to-the-metal alter ego named Ferris Bueller. He's imagining everyone missing him at school, posting flyers saying, "Save Ferris," and collecting money for the Save Ferris Fund. He even imagines the principal hunting him down to prove that he was lying, just so he can feel a little thrill. Cameron is constantly talking to himself, and Ferris is constantly breaking the fourth wall. Maybe that's just his thoughts working themselves out. Sloane is Cameron's biggest crush. He wishes that he could talk to her, so he creates this romance between Ferris and her in his head. Still think Ferris is real? What about the scene where Cameron is laying in bed talking to Ferris on the phone? After Cameron hangs up, he says, "I'm dying." Then the phone rings, and who's on the line but Ferris saying, "You're not dying, you're just bored." Okay, so we all remember when Yzma turned Kuzco into a llama, but did you catch Yzma's premeditated murder later on in the movie? Yzma turns Kuzco into a llama by accident when she's really trying to kill him with poison. When he becomes the llama, he's still able to talk to humans in human language. This is a key thing to remember because Kronk can speak with squirrel but not in human language. When they are in the jungle, every animal can't understand him. Also, every animal cannot speak human. In the scene where the fly gets caught in the spider's web, it screams out, "Help me," in human language. And if you remember in the beginning of the movie, the original plan was to turn Kuzco into a flea. So, did Yzma turn a different human being into a fly because he defied her, knowing he'd be killed later on? Want to actually judge the theories on my TikTok? Go to the link in my bio and download Wishbone. It's completely free, and you can judge all the theories whether you agree or disagree. You can even hash it out in the comment section if you want. Once you download it, go add me. It's at Joe's Theories. What if I told you Cosmo and Wanda weren't actually fairy godparents, but instead were antidepressants? What if Cosmo was Zoloft and Wanda was Prozac? Think about it. I know it seems awesome from the outside perspective, but that's just when he has his fairies. Whenever he doesn't have his fairies, he's miserable. And who can blame him? He has negligent parents, a mean babysitter that torments him, and a teacher who is constantly out to get him. In Da Rulebook, it says you'll only have fairies for as long as you need them, and Timmy needs them whenever he's sad, scared, or upset. Also in Da Rulebook, there's a Timmy clause that says that you can have your fairies longer than 13 years old as long as you don't use them on selfish wishes. You don't need fairies anymore when you're happy with your life, just like antidepressants. I mean, come on, he even goes to wish rehab for over-wishing. So we all know Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise, but did you know he's actually William Shatner? Well, not exactly, but his mask is actually an old William Shatner mask painted white. William Shatner, knowing this, actually went trick-or-treating in a Michael Myers mask, or did he just go as a pale version of himself?